Feelings and emotions, they're not the same thing, although most people, even the experts, will use the terms interchangeably. So I'm Dr. Nick Sotelo. I am the founder of the Anger Resolution Program, and in this video, give you about 5 minutes, and I'm going to break down the difference between feelings and emotions. And I have found this to be so very helpful, so very important. When it was taught to me when I was a young clinician, it just opened up a whole new world of understanding and a whole new way of being able to help the people that I was working with. So let's get into it. So there's 4 primary feeling states. If you've watched my videos, I'm sure that you've seen me or heard me talk about that. 4 primary feeling states: mad, glad, sad, and afraid. And those kind of rhyme, so I stick with it. Mad in this case is the equivalent of anger. So 4 primary feeling states. Super important to recognize. You have to master the 4 primary feeling states in order to be able to move on to the emotional experience of what it means to be human. So what's the difference between a feeling and an emotion? So feelings are hardwired into us. Mad, sad, glad, and afraid. They are built into us as humans for survival purposes. Okay. Emotions is the outcome of combining a feeling and combining a thought or a perception. When they come together, that's when you have an emotion. And it's typically that emotion that you see externally, right? It's the behavior that you see externally that represents the emotion. But the feeling is usually an internal thing, right? And those feelings kind of reside in the back of our brain stem, to the extent that what I'm telling you is true, that they are primary feeling states and they're meant for survival, right? They are that part of that reptilian brain experience of what it means to be human. Mad, sad, glad, and afraid, the 4 primary feeling states. So if I were to startle you real quick, you might be afraid. There's no emotion involved in that, right? It's just something that you experience. It's something that comes to you in the external, the 5 senses, right? You see it, you hear it, you feel it, you smell it. 6th sense, maybe you intuit it. But it's a feeling state that you don't necessarily have control over, right? You can control the way that you learn to recognize it. You can control the way that you learn to relate to it. But there are things that are going to go on in your everyday environment all the time that are going to invoke a primary feeling state that has nothing to do with emotions. Absolutely nothing to do with emotions. Now, when I did this and I put a loud sound through my microphone and into your ears, that could have startled you, and you may think, what a jerk. Okay? That is an emotion. Maybe leave you a nasty comment. That hurt my ears. You're a jerk. Okay? That's the emotional response, right? Because the startle effect of me clapping through the microphone to your ears jolted you, made you afraid, and you think, why did he need to do that? He's a jerk. I'm going to let him know about it. Okay? That's the emotional response. Okay? Feeling states versus emotional states. 2 separate things. You have a feeling, you have a thought, you combine them together, and that is the emotion that we see in the outward behavior. So why is that important? It's important because when people, and particularly men, when they struggle with anger and they get help for anger, and the experts will then throw all these emotional things at them, all these words and wheels and lists and charts, and they'll say, why don't you really pick out what you were feeling? Well, no, you just showed me a bunch of emotions. What I was feeling was anger. Well, no, anger is secondary. No, it's not. It's primary, right? When I see something in my environment that's dangerous and threatening to me, I'm angry, right? Because that serves to protect myself or the other people around me, right? It's not secondary to anything. So, okay, hopefully that makes some sense. 4 primary feeling states. You've got to master those. It's crawl, walk, run. Where the crawl and walk is mostly about learning about the 4 primary feeling states, how to integrate them, how to recognize them, how to respond to them. Then we can move on to the whole litany of emotional words that get thrown at us at times. Okay? So If you would like a PDF breakdown of thoughts versus feelings, go ahead and let me know. And you can let me know by leaving a comment below this video post to say send me the guide, and I'll send you a guide that gives you a breakdown of thoughts or feelings versus emotions. This has been Dr. Nick Sotelo with Anger Resolution, and I hope this has brought you tremendous value.